Today, let's take a look at Sherlock. Sherlock is a very good open source intelligence gathering tool that allows you to use a person's username in order to find more information about them on the internet. It's very good for kind of scoping out other profiles across various social media platforms. And here we have the GitHub website for Sherlock. It's a Python script that you can pull down. So we're going to start our Kali Linux virtual machine and we're going to get going on installing it. So the first thing we're actually going to do is make a directory for this. And inside of that directory, we're going to make sure we have pip installed in our Python 3. You can see that here there actually is not a module called pip installed. So we're going to actually use apt-get to get to Python pip. But we're going to actually make sure we put install in there. And this is going to install pip. I'm not sure why Python 3 doesn't automatically come with it. Pip, of course, is the package manager for Python, one of several, but it's the most popular one. So once we have that set up, we're actually going to do our pip install, or actually our pip upgrade, basically, to make sure we have the latest pip. If you've used Python on your Kali Linux machine previously, you won't have to go through these steps. This is the first time that I'm actually using Python on this Kali Linux machine, so I am going to bore you with it. Now here I'm actually installing the virtual env module. This is actually the wrong module to install, so don't do this. What we actually want is a different module. So what we actually want is, see, because if I try to run Python 3 venv, we're going to get an error. And so the error actually tells us that we need to do Python 3-venv. So we're going to go ahead and sudo apt-get install this. And this will allow us to create virtual environments in the standard way that we create virtual environments. Why am I using a Python virtual environment here? It's for easy cleanup. This way, the modules that you do install are not cluttering the global space for Python. It'll actually be installed within a virtual environment or within a local folder. And then when you blow out that local folder, all of those additional modules, additional packages will be gone. So we create our virtual environment with the -m-venv command. Now we're going to go inside of that directory. As you can see, it's actually installed a version of Python and a version of the Python configuration information. So we're going to go back out to the main directory. We're going to activate our virtual environment. And now that our virtual environment is activated, we're ready to go. Git is installed, so that's good. So we're going to do a git clone, and we're going to clone the Sherlock directory. Now that we're cloned, we're going to go into the Sherlock directory. And this looks good. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the requirements. I'm just going to paste the command that's in my clipboard. It's Python 3-m pip install -r requirements.txt. The Python requirements will be in the requirements.txt file. So that's what the txt file is for, and the -r is essentially telling pip to install the components listed within that file. Now that all of our requirements are installed, we should be ready to go. Now we can say Python 3 Sherlock, and we're going to put in a username. I'm going to put in my username, Zool. And so what this is going to do is this is going to go through and check as many social media accounts that it has in the default listing for Sherlock, and it's going to try to find Zool in every one of them. Now, an important thing to remember when you're doing open source intelligence gathering is obviously not all of these usernames are me. Some of these are sites I've never been to. So even though Zool might be a unique name and username, it's not unique enough that I'm the only person to ever use it. So there are a lot of items here, and this actually will output to a text file. So if we take a look, we can see there's a zool.txt file. So if we just cat that real quick, you can see that all it did was dump the URLs for the profile pages inside of that TXT file. It is the same exact information up here. These are clickable from the terminal if you needed to go and investigate. Clearly 9gag is not me, but some of these other are, like archive.org is me, about.me is me. And these are things that I've never, like I might have signed up for, but I've never used since then. So in addition to Sherlock being a good open source intelligence gathering tool, it's also a good way to see what accounts you have out there and whether or not you need to close some stuff out. So it's a good way for you to investigate yourself. Now, if you click on any of these, you can see that it brings up the profile page. This is my Vimeo account, which I rarely ever use. And so now let's just go down here real quick. One of the things that you can also do is you can pass multiple, let me clear this out real quick. You can pass multiple usernames. So we're going to try a couple of different configurations of usernames that I've had in the past. MJ Zool 2012. And what this will do is this will actually run through each one of them. It'll check them, and it will dump them to text files as well. So obviously Zool has the most social media accounts that it was able to find. When it comes to check MJ Zool, it doesn't have quite as many. And then with the Zool 2012, it finds a few here as well. But if you know that somebody has a variation of a username that they're using, you can then type in those variations in order to see whether or not those accounts are theirs. You see here's MJ Zool. You can see here's the little bit we got for Zool 2012. It's got a gamer tag, which I think is me, which is not the same as the gamer tag up here for Zool. So again, some of these accounts are the person that you're looking for or yourself. Some of them are not. Now, if we just look at what's in the listed directory, you can see that we have multiple files in here. So each one of the usernames checked will generate a TXT file. And that gets you started on being able to investigate social media accounts. Now, there are other options here that you can use. So if you look at the GitHub page for Sherlock, we can take a look at a couple of these. One that's important to note is Tor. So if you have Tor installed, and it is installed by default on Kali Linux, you can actually use Tor to gather this information and hit those links. In fact, you could use unique Tor so that it uses a different instance for every check it does on a social media website. So that actually allows you to further potentially hide yourself if somebody's looking for strange data where you're hitting their servers looking for a bunch of different user information. It gives you the opportunity to basically make sure each request is a unique request. Now, Sherlock's actually very powerful. We just gave a quick introduction of how to use it in order to see the profiles of individuals with this tool. In future episodes, we're actually going to take a look at some of these additional command line switches, and we're going to use some of them and show how they vary your results.